Everyone was there when my sister laughed and said it out loud. In the cafeteria, during rounds, with attendings nearby. She said I'd dropped out, that I couldn't handle it. A few people chuckled. Someone raised their eyebrows. I felt my face go hot. I didn't correct her. I didn't explain. I stared at my tray. The soup cooling, the spoon untouched. No one stepped in. No one asked me privately. Later, the lie moved faster than I could. It reached my parents before I did. Phones went quiet. Messages stopped. Support vanished. I stood there, silent, as doors closed. My parents didn't call to ask what happened. They didn't ask for transcripts or letters. They listened to my sister because it was easier. She'd always been the loud one, the charming one, the storyteller. I was the quiet one who showed up and did the work. Silence reads like guilt when someone else fills it. The first cutoff came as a missed rent payment they'd promised to help with while I was in rotations. I waited a week before asking. My mother replied with a single sentence. "We can't support lies." My father sent nothing. I read the message 3 times, then set the phone face down and went back to the ward. I kept thinking someone would step in. An aunt. An uncle. Anyone who knew me well enough to notice the difference between quitting and grinding. But family gatherings went on without me. Photos appeared online. Smiles, cake, inside jokes. I watched from a call room, the hum of machines in the background. My badge clipped crooked because I'd rushed. When I tried once, just once, to explain, my sister cut in first. She sighed and said I was embarrassed and spinning stories. My parents went quiet on the line. That quiet felt like a verdict. I didn't argue. I asked for space and hung up. The call never came back. Work became the place where I felt most real. The rules were clear. You show up. You learn. You don't pretend. I studied late, slept in short pieces, learned how to keep my voice steady when it mattered. Outside the hospital, my life shrank. Friends drifted. I skipped trips. I missed a cousin's wedding because flights cost too much when you're paying everything alone. The worst part wasn't the money. It was the way my parents talked about me to others. I heard later that they said I'd lost my way, that I'd changed, that school had been too much. Each phrase felt neat and final. It let them stay comfortable. It let them avoid asking hard questions about who benefits when a lie is believed. I stopped sending updates. I stopped correcting people. I focused on finishing, on doing the next right thing. When graduation came, I sat in a crowd of families clapping. My name was read. I stood. No one from my row waved. I smiled anyway, because that's what you do when you're still hoping someone might see you. I kept my head down afterward, walking past banners and balloons. I texted a friend congratulations meant for me and deleted it. That night I ate takeout alone, still wearing my badge, grease staining the paper. I told myself tomorrow would be the same as today. It was. Patients needed me. Charts waited. The hospital didn't care about my family story. That indifference felt fair. It felt clean. I slept lightly, woke early, and returned before dawn. Practicing calm. Practicing patience. Practicing not looking back at all anymore for anyone there. Over time, the pattern stopped pretending to be accidental. It wasn't just the lie. It was everything that followed it, and everything before it that suddenly made sense. My sister had always spoken first. She'd always decided the version that stuck. When we were younger, if something broke, she'd explain why it wasn't her fault before anyone asked. I learned early that timing mattered more than truth. There were smaller moments I'd ignored. The way my parents called her to ask how I was doing instead of asking me. The way they praised her confidence and told me I was too sensitive when I questioned things. The way decisions were made with me as an afterthought. None of it felt cruel in isolation. It felt organized. I realized I was useful when I didn't need much. When I asked for nothing. When I absorbed disappointment quietly. The lie worked because it fit the story they already had. That I was fragile. That I struggled. That she was the reliable one. Once that frame was set, everything I did got bent to match it. My wedding made it undeniable. I sent invitations anyway. I included a short note. Nothing defensive. Just the date, the place, the time. My mother responded with silence. My father sent a gift card and no message. On the day itself, I stood at the back of the room before the music started and watched families settle into seats. People asked if my parents were running late. I said they couldn't make it. I didn't say why. Afterward, photos circulated. Comments asked where my family was. I answered each one the same way. Busy. I learned that word could cover a lot. I learned it kept conversations short. My sister kept using the lie, casually now. At dinners. At work events. She'd say it like a joke, like ancient history. I heard about it through mutuals. Each time, my parents stayed comfortable. No one corrected her. No one asked for proof. The absence of pushback told me exactly where I stood. I stopped hoping for a moment of realization. I stopped drafting messages in my head. I put my energy where it counted. Into training. Into building a life that didn't depend on their approval. I paid my own way. I built savings. I learned to be careful without being bitter. When residency ended, I didn't post the certificate. I framed it and hung it in a hallway no one but me saw. It wasn't about hiding. It was about choosing who had access to my milestones. I wasn't punishing anyone. I was protecting myself. By then, being cut off felt less like exile and more like clarity. I knew the rules. I knew who I could trust. I knew that if something changed, it wouldn't be because I'd finally explained myself well enough. It would be because circumstances forced the truth into the open. The boundary crossed itself on an ordinary night. I was on call. The corridor lights were dimmed, the kind that make time feel thick. My phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Then again. When I stepped into an empty room to answer, a nurse I barely knew said my sister had been brought in. Trauma. Fast. My chest went quiet. I arrived before I thought about what that meant. The air smelled like antiseptic and coffee. Voices moved around me. I stayed where I was told. When my parents arrived, my mother's eyes were wild. She didn't see me at first. When she did, she stopped. My father kept walking, then turned back, confused. No one apologized. No one asked how I was. My sister was behind doors. My parents clung to each other. My mother's hand dug into my father's arm hard enough to leave marks. I noticed because noticing felt safer than feeling. A resident whispered that the attending was on the way. My mother asked who it was. When my name was said, quietly, she shook her head like she'd misheard. I didn't step forward. I didn't explain credentials. I stood still and waited for instructions like everyone else. In that moment, something settled. Not triumph. Not anger. Finality. I wasn't going to fix the story. I wasn't going to stand there and prove myself. I wasn't going to trade my dignity for recognition. When the attending walked in and spoke calmly, my parents listened like their lives depended on it. They didn't look at me. I didn't need them to. The line was clear now. I could do my job. I could care. I could also choose distance. I finished the shift. I followed protocol. I kept my voice even. When it was over, I went home and slept without replaying the night. That felt new. I didn't stay to talk. I didn't offer explanations. In the days that followed, I answered messages with facts only. Shift hours. Updates when asked. Nothing else. My parents tried to call once. I let it ring. I wasn't angry. I was finished negotiating. The hospital handled the rest. Paperwork moved. Names were listed correctly. Roles were clear. Word travels fast in places built on accuracy. When my sister told her version again, it collapsed under simple questions. Where was the withdrawal form? Which semester? Who signed? Silence did the work I never could. My parents learned the truth the slow way. Through forms, timelines, and other people. Not from me. They showed up one afternoon. Faces tired, apologies rehearsed. I listened. I didn't interrupt. When they finished, I said I needed time. I meant distance. Money didn't return. Neither did invitations. What changed was access. They stopped speaking for me. They stopped deciding my story. My sister stopped calling altogether. I heard she'd told friends she'd misunderstood things. That was enough. Life settled. I paid my bills. I cooked on Sundays. I framed a new certificate and hung it where the light hits in the morning. Sometimes I pass it without looking. That feels right. Last week, I walked home after a late shift. The street was quiet. I unlocked my door, set my bag down, and breathed. No audience. No corrections. Just the next day, waiting. I keep my phone face down now. I choose who hears my news. Some nights I write notes I never send. In the morning, I delete them. The work continues. So does the quiet. It isn't lonely. It's honest. And for the first time, it's mine. I walk forward slowly, steady, carrying nothing I need to explain anymore. To anyone ever. Again.